factors, including my immune status at that time, I might carry this virus in me, healthy like you and I, without anybody knowing, or even you yourself. I mean, God knows what we do with our bodies, excuse me to say. And anything can happen. I mean, somebody can be very safe and play safe and swear I'm going to be safe, but then just one day anything can happen and change your status. And you never know whether the person you had a relationship with is having the virus or is not having the virus. And that is the danger about HIV/AIDS. In fact, the AIDS person, which we'll talk about later, is not a dangerous person because that person is really sick. And when you see the person, you know that this AIDS person is really sick, and you wouldn't want to even go near the person, how much more going that far of having a sexual relationship with the person. The dangerous person is the HIV positive person. Because it can be any of us, very beautiful, very nice people, going about their normal business. And for some people, the only way they can detect is maybe it's a routine, maybe a church or a workplace or some group, they are doing free blood donation, then they want to test your blood to see whether there's HIV before they accept it. That's how some people even detect that they have HIV. Or some people, maybe they are going for a job interview, and then as part of the regulations, they would require that you actually go for an HIV test. Or what some people, maybe at a church, you've gone through marriage counseling, you want to get married, and then some churches will require that you go and do the AIDS test. And so for the HIV positive person, and nobody knows when he or she is HIV positive. And so you will be with it, you will carry it until something happens. But within this interval now, if this person is HIV positive and the person doesn't practice sexual safety or chastity or whatever, and if this person is careless with his or her life, then you can just imagine what will happen. So the person just goes about sleeping with men or women about, because it can be either a man or a woman, just sleeping with men or women about and just spreading the virus. And so many researches have been conducted, it has proven that once you have a relationship with somebody who is HIV positive, there's always a likelihood, in fact, about 100% likelihood that the person will transmit the virus to you. There are a few percentages that give way to unlikelihood, but most often, in fact, majority of the people who are sick and infected with the virus got it through a relationship with other partners. And at this stage, in fact, we have a window period that is about a month, 1 month to 3 months. Now, this period is a very dangerous period because even if I got the virus into my system today, now within the next month or the next 3 months, if I went to do a blood test, it will not show. And so it's like you don't even know. It will not show, so I don't know whether I'm positive or I'm negative. And so if I went about and had a relationship and really I were positive, then it means I'll continue to give it out. And so normally if you were to go to do a VCT or a blood test or anything, they will tell you come back, if any of you has done it, they will tell you come back in another 3 months or come back in another 6 months. So after you've done the second one, then they will really confirm and show that if you are positive for the first time and did a second one, and then it proved that you are positive again, then you really are positive. If you did the first one and you are negative, and you did the second one after 6 months, most probably, and you are negative, then it shows that you are negative. And so this is what makes HIV a very dangerous disease, especially the HIV one. And then one other thing I would add before we move to the AIDS stage is that now what happens in your body when you have the HIV is a distraction of your blood system that we call the immune system. It's a distraction that takes place internally. So it's like once the virus, the very wicked virus that we all have to fight against, because once nothing is showing externally in your body, internally there's distraction going on. You see, and the distraction is that your immune system is being destroyed day by day. The virus attacks the white blood cells. And you know these white blood cells in the body, God in His mercy has given them to us to protect us. So that even when you are not sick and even when you are sick and you don't even, there are some sicknesses, I mean, we don't all go to hospital when we are sick, do we? I mean, there are some sicknesses, you come maybe a little headache, a little cold, a little cough, a little something somewhere. But then, before you realize, you are fine again. Just because your white blood cells are working. Even if you go to the hospital or you go to see the health worker and you are giving medicine, because you have the white blood cells, it helps you with your recovery. But what happens to this virus is that it begins to destroy this all-important system that God has given us. Now it destroys them and weakens them. The white blood cells do not have enough strength against the virus, but the virus is very strong. And so it destroys these white blood cells to a point that you are just deficient in it. That's why it's called human immune virus. And when you are at a zero deficient level, or a near zero, a very low deficient level, then it shows in the AIDS disease. That's what we call it, the AIDS, that is acquired immune deficiency syndrome. And by that time, it might have taken a long time. It's not reversible, maybe 5 years, 10 years, or less than that, and you would have gotten to the AIDS stage. And when you get to the AIDS stage, then it begins to show. And what are some of the symptoms? In fact, by the time it shows in your body, you're already to the point of being a dead person. In fact, when you see the signs and symptoms, then you know that this disease didn't begin today. It began a long time. So, I mean, let's just imagine that you are a couple at home and one person is not playing safe. Or you are not couple, maybe, I mean, for those who want to have relationship before they get married or whatever, and then one of you is not faithful. Then let's use a scenario where one person is not faithful. Now, and this person moves somewhere and then sleeps about with another person who might be HIV or who is HIV positive. And he comes back to sleep with you who innocently, I mean, you don't have HIV, and because you trust the person, especially if you are couples and you are really married, wedlock certified, whichever means you are married, and one person brings in the virus, it means immediately the other person gets it. So you are already 3 people now who have 3 people plus the person who infected you. So already 3 people are infected with the virus. Now what happens to the first person who infected one of the couples? It means that he or she is also going about doing what? Infecting other people. And then the other person, if he or she is not faithful, or even if he's faithful, then he goes back, or she goes back to infect his or her partner. And so before you realize, just one virus begins to spread and it spreads. So that's how come we have the spread going all over. Because a lot of it has to do with our sexual relationship, and God knows what we do with ourselves. And so that's what happens. Before I go to the signs and symptoms, one other means, in fact, there are 3 others. I already talked about use of infected blood. I mean, if one's blood is infected, and sometimes, especially in emergency situations, really every blood that is given at our health facility is supposed to be screened and tested and everything. But then we will know of cases where people have been transfused with infected blood. And so this is also one area that people are getting infected with the virus. One other way is mother-to-child transmission of infection. In fact, now we call it parent-to-child, because definitely one parent got it. If the man who got it, then he passes it on to the mother. If the mother got it, then she passes it to the father. And so it's parent-to-child transmission. And the sad thing is that this innocent baby who was coming to enjoy the world now comes to suffer, because the mother passes the virus to the child, either in the pregnancy through the placenta. The virus is able to cross the placenta barrier. In fact, the placenta is so strong that under normal circumstances, It's only food and nutrients. God has made it so wonderful. It's only food and nutrients that are supposed to pass it to nourish the baby to grow. But this virus is able to cross the placenta barrier and infect the baby. Now, if it escapes, now what it does is that there are 3 levels, and this is very dangerous. Now, if it escapes from the womb, then it tries to catch the baby during delivery. And I mean, I've seen mothers saying, I'm sure there are women who delivered before. And even though you'll be pushing and in pain, so you don't really see what goes on. But there's a lot of blood medicine going on at the time of delivery. I mean, the midwife's hands, the doctor's hands, the syringes, the forceps, the you pushing and the wearing and tearing, all has to do with something tearing for the baby to come. And it's blood. And so, if the mother is infected at that stage and the baby could not even get it through the womb, then it's very likely that in the passage of delivery, he or she can get it. Or maybe the midwife or the doctor, if one of them is infected, AIDS is no respecter of persons. If one of them is infected and there's a cut or something, I mean, these guys, they don't even wear proper glass. If, they are not well protected, anything can happen to the baby, to the mother, even to the health worker herself. And then the third one is that even if the baby escapes, now research has also shown that even the breast milk of an infected mother may carry some virus which can be passed on to the baby. And so mother to child transmission, and that is the dangerous stage. But unfortunately, the dangerous stage doesn't show anything. So you are free, you are walking healthy normally. Maybe once a while you may have some slight cold or slight cough, but which will just go away. So you wouldn't know that there's something wrong with you. Unless you do a blood test. And most of the times, these blood tests, even though now we promote voluntary blood tests, most people don't go to do the blood test unless maybe they are being compelled or something. Now, for AIDS itself, it will show. Now, we have persistent diarrhea for more than 1 month. After all the distraction has taken place of our high blood cells, then the disease will now show. So the diarrhea keeps coming. I think you just go once, twice, go again. You know how diarrhea happens. People had a bout of diarrhea once or twice in our lifetime. You know how uncomfortable it is. So just imagine you going through this stage for about 1 month or more. You see, it doesn't go. So it's like you can't even go to public, or you are afraid because when you go, maybe you want to attend to nature's call. If there's no place around, what do you do? So it keeps on. Then persistent fever. You have to understand this because you see, your strength is gone, your immune system is gone, so you don't have any defense in you. So in fact, we call something opportunistic infections. There are a lot of infections that will occur in your body all at once. That's why